Hello, everybody. Don Hazelwood here. We're getting ready to go ahead and start the North Carolina Community College System webinar provided by Remote Learner. This month, we are going to be going over video editing and captioning tools from presented by Mike Clendenin from Pitt Community College, with help with Ken Peel from Pitt Community College as well. They have been doing a lot of research, especially on the video captioning side, which is very timely for ADA accreditation, and they've been doing a lot of work, and that's why I've asked them to do this, because they've kind of been through a lot of tools, and they've got some great ideas that I think can really impact your courses right off the bat. But before I turn it over to Mike and Ken, I want to introduce, everyone knows Kimberly King from Nash Community College. We've got some regional workshops coming up, and I just want her to go ahead and talk about them for a minute. Kimberly?
Hi, everyone. I'm Kimberly King, president of the North Carolina Community College Association of Distance Learning, which is known as NC3ADL. I want to first thank Remote Learner for providing these professional development webinars and for allowing me to take a few minutes just to introduce you to or let you know about our upcoming 2016 regional workshops. Our one-day workshops will be held in April at Davidson County, Blue Ridge, and Nash Community Colleges. Each will cover a variety of topics relevant to distance and e-learning educators. They will include free online tools, online student readiness, instructional and retention strategy, and quality course standards. Registration is now open, and you can register there on the screen is the web address at our nc3adl.org website. And thank you for the time, and I'll turn it back over to Don.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Kim. And I'm looking forward to attending all of these, and hopefully get to see a lot of people in April. That being said, thank you again. I just want to make sure, I hope everyone can hear. I don't see any questions popping up that people cannot hear, but hopefully everyone can hear us loud and clear. We are recording this. We will provide a link to this recording once we get it up and posted for you to review or to share to anybody who was unable to make the webinar. That being said, I want to go ahead and get this turned over to Mike. He's got a lot of information, and I want to let him get started. So, Mike, I believe your screen should be popping up here in a second. And,
it's on the way.
There we go. So, Mike, go ahead.
Is my screen showing?
It is. I see it. Yes.
Okay. All right. So, as Don was saying, this is Mike Clendenin from Pitt Community College, and
this is Ken Peel from Pitt Community College.
So we're involved in a lot of stuff here at Pitt Community College. One of which is working with some of the ADA stuff. So Don asked us to put together some stuff about what we decided to come up with for editing, and more importantly, what we're doing for as far as captioning goes. So first, we'll talk a little bit about the editing process. And of course, here's our names here if you need to know how they're spelt. We'll get contact information later. So first, let's talk about the video editing, and then we'll get into some of the captioning here. So, video editing. Both of us have been involved in editing way before we were here at Pitt. We've done a lot of multimedia stuff over the years. And so that's just kind of continued with our work here. I don't get to do as much of it as Ken does, because I have to do all this management stuff, but he gets to play with the crayons all day. So he gets to do a lot of the stuff, and I do a little bit. But we both get involved in deciding what to do as far as what systems we're going to get. Testing, troubleshooting, that kind of stuff. So we're both pretty involved in this process. going back to, both of us have been here. I've been here 5 years. You've been here about 5 years. So going back to the beginning there of what we wanted to do as far as video editing goes, we had kind of an idea of the types of things we've done before with software, and of course had to figure out what we wanted to do going forward. So we've looked at lots of different packages, and this is kind of the ones we've narrowed it down to for both the Windows environment and the Apple environment. Of course, a lot of people may already know about Movie Maker. It comes free with Windows. It's fairly simple, but still allows you to do some editing to get a video completed. So that's certainly something everybody could use. It doesn't have any captioning capabilities, and editing capabilities are very simple, but it can be used in some cases. One of the packages that I know I've used probably for about 10 years, and Ken's done the same thing, is something called Camtasia. Both of us had done video overlay and narration in training packages before, so that's something we both had used. We've looked at other packages, but that's the one that we still think is one of the better packages on the market, especially for the price. There are certainly lots of other software packages in that price range. There are certainly some that are free, but the free ones typically the interfaces are not great, or it's a long learning curve trying to get some of that stuff to work. So we've definitely narrowed down to Camtasia being one of the better products. It does cost, but the educational package, which includes Snagit, which is a screen capturing tool, the educational package for that's $179. So it's not, yeah, and also screencasting comes with that as well. So it's not a bad deal. There is some higher end packages, one being Premiere Pro, which is the Adobe product. You certainly have the ability to do more things with it, but it has the ability to actually do full-length movies and so forth with special effects and all that good stuff. Probably more than what most of us need to use, but it's certainly an option there as well. Over on the Apple side, we've got the iMovie, which is free, or $14.99 depending on which version of the operating system you have. And then also Camtasia is available on the Macintosh platform, so that's certainly the good option there. And then a higher end package for Apple is Final Cut Pro, which is on par with Premiere Pro. Definitely a lot of additional functionality there for doing full-length Hollywood-type movies. So a little bit beyond what most of us probably need. So the one that we're using most often is of course Camtasia. And what I want to do here is quickly show you what the editing interface for Camtasia looks like. And it turns out that most editing packages nowadays, the interface is very similar. You start off with something known as a clip bin. That's the individual pieces of video, your graphics, the sound, anything that you're putting together to make your finished video. It kind of gets stored there, and you can bring those pieces in as needed. There's a video preview window. This basically shows you what your video sort of looks like in a smaller window. And, most of them allow you to play that full screen so you can see exactly what it's looking like. But it allows you to see the finished product, so to speak, as you're going through and editing. A lot of packages, or all the packages, have lots of different options. This little section here is where the options are for Camtasia. One of the things there, of course, you can see is the captionings, along with adding call-outs, which are blocks of text or whatever you can add over top of your video, the effects, video, audio editing, all that kind of good stuff. So lots of different options there. And then the big piece at the bottom is called the timeline. Basically, each individual piece of content you put here gets its own track, and this is a timeline going from left to right to the beginning and ending of your video. If you put audio in, it's on its separate track, so you can turn that track on and off. You can cut pieces in and out of everything. So a lot of the video editors all have something similar to that. So that's Camtasia. And so why did we pick Camtasia? One, of course, is the ease of use. Being all the different types of video editing packages we've used, this one's definitely one of the easier ones to pick up because there are not a whole lot of the advanced functions that you would get like in Premiere Pro or something like that. And so it's a lot of things we don't need, but what we do there and pretty easy to use. We both have access to Premiere Pro, which is a high-end package. But even if I'm using that for video, I'll come to Camtasia to do certain things just because it's easier. And then I'll bring that in to Premiere Pro to continue going. One of the good things about Camtasia Studio, especially for a lot of what we do, is the screen capture ability. Either recording a PowerPoint, because it actually has an add-in to PowerPoint, so you can record PowerPoint, record audio all at the same time right from within PowerPoint. It also has the ability to capture any kind of screen, like a lot of the Moodle training that we do. We use Camtasia to capture the movements of the mouse on the screen. You can zoom in to a particular section that you're working on and then zoom back out. So that functionality is definitely one of the main points that we use Camtasia for. It has certainly a lot of good editing features. And, of course, the captioning feature. Most of the higher-end packages now have captioning. Everybody's getting on board with that. Some are easier to do than others. Any of the captioning you do manually in an editing package is, of course, going to be time-consuming. But Camtasia makes it probably about as easy as it can be for that type of functionality. And, of course, the cost, it's $179, but that's not a huge expenditure of cost. So that's not bad. And the Camtasia people are just awesome to work with. We've talked with them quite a bit, mentioning things that we think would be good for the next version, that type of stuff. So we've definitely worked a lot with them, not so much in, why is this not working, but talking with them about how it can be made better. So they're definitely a good group of people to work with. All right, so to quickly show you a little, this, I think it's like 40 seconds long. It shows you one of the types of video that we're making here with Camtasia. Kind of give you an idea of how complicated you can make a video. So it's showing you some of the editing capabilities that this program has.
Welcome to Tips for Making Your Content Accessible. If you were just to do a search on the web for accessibility, you would find pages and pages and pages of information. You'd also hear terms such as American with Disabilities Act, World Wide Web Consortium,
Optical Character Reader, Web Accessibility Initiative, User Agent Accessibility Guidelines.
Whew! Just lots and lots and lots of information, so much that it is totally overwhelming to most folks. So you end up being confused about what should I do? What do I need to do to make things accessible?
All right, so that shows you, that's our beginning of our accessibility video, which is the total thing's about 30 minutes long. I decided to try to do something to sort of get people's attention, make it a little bit amusing there. But you can see how you can just have lots of stuff on the screen. You can do overlays, of course, the audio and video editing, it's in the background. So lots of stuff you can do with it. Was everybody able to hear that audio? Because I don't know if it was feeding through the system or through the speakers itself. Did anybody not hear the audio? Okay, good. I'm seeing that everybody says yes. So I just want to make sure that, because we got several other audio pieces here. So it's got lots and lots of ability to do lots of different types of editing. So it's certainly a good program there. All right. Being that video caching is one of the big things right now. We're ADA compliancy altogether is a big thing. We wanted to spend a little bit more time on the captioning side of things versus editing. Does anybody have any real questions right now about the editing itself? We can take some now. We can certainly take some more at the end. We'll have time at the end to do more questioning, so we'll go on here then. So the video captioning part of what we do. We sort of took the same process here when we really figured out we needed to start captioning. We started looking at all the different tools that are available and what would be the easiest thing for our faculty to use. Because we certainly didn't want to have to do all the captioning ourselves, because that would just be ridiculously a large amount of work. So we started looking around at the different softwares that were available, stuff that we could do, stuff that we could get other people to do. So just wanted to, try to find out what's the best tool out there for either the amount of money or the functionality that we needed. So this is kind of how we sort of looked at what we were doing. So captioning systems, between Windows and the Macintosh environment, it's pretty much about the same because everything's available, and most everything's, through either web-based stuff or, in this case, Camtasia is available for both platforms. One of the things that a lot of people have been using, and we continue to see it being used, is doing YouTube, which certainly is an option. It's free. However, anybody that's used the automatic captioning function within YouTube will quickly find out that that is not really that good. We've got an example to show you in just a minute. You certainly could go in and edit that afterwards, but it's kind of a long, drawn-out process. But, one of the options that's available. Until recently, we've used Camtasia to do our captioning here. We've only really started pushing captioning probably in the last 6 months because of our 5-year plan with getting everything accessible. So, been using Camtasia to get all that done. And so that's what we've been using right now. And we're starting to turn into our next system, which is called Kaltura Reach. I'm going to check over here on a question I've got if I can get my screen set up here. I've got a question about, do you have faculty that use third-party YouTube videos? We have a lot of people using YouTube videos. Some of it is kind of generic stuff. It's just how-to videos or things like that. But we do have faculty members that have found educational-based videos that are available through YouTube, and they use those in their face-to-face classes and their online classes. And that's a good question. That's one of the problems with YouTube is how do you caption YouTube videos that you didn't produce? The only official way to do it is to contact the person that owns the video and get their permission, if they haven't already given everyone that, to be able to caption those videos and tie it to it. So there's a concern there with YouTube. And certainly going forward, because it's the school's responsibility for any video being used, regardless of who made it. It's on us to make sure that it's captioned so that it's usable by everybody. So that's definitely a concern for using YouTube.
Another quick note on using YouTube is that the owner of the video may decide to take that video down. Then all of a sudden, now you don't have that piece of content anymore. That's just another piece of the issue.
We definitely encourage our faculty to make their own, but that's, in reality is just not realistic because it takes a long time to make a decent video. Another question, have we ever used rev.com to transcribe your audio to text? Neither one of us have actually ever used that. I'm guessing that's a website that can be used to convert audio to text. We've been using Camtasia for a while, and that works pretty good, so we never did look for an alternative to that. But that's certainly a good thing to note. So that was rev.com. We've actually, Ken's actually used, is it Google itself?
Yeah, it's Google itself.
To speak into to convert it to text. I know that's worked before. But we'll definitely look at Rev because we're going to do another one of these sessions in April, and we'll look at that, see if that's a good option to add to it. So thank you for that question. So like I said, until recently we used Camtasia. We have for 3 years now been using Kaltura, which is a video streaming service that connects into Moodle or works with any of the LMSs you may have. It's a third-party product. You pay for that. I know there's several other schools that are using Kaltura, and it's a good thing to use because it keeps the storage of video off your Moodle server, because there's a limited amount of space that we can use for Moodle unless we want to pay for more space. So we decided to go with Kaltura as a way to keep the video storage off of Moodle and put it onto the Kaltura system. And Kaltura actually doesn't charge for the amount of storage you use, just for the amount of bandwidth. In other words, they only charge you for how much video is being viewed, not how much you're storing. And you pay for X amount per year, and if you go over that, of course, you have to pay extra. So it's worked out pretty good for us for like I said, for over 3 years. We now are looking at, or actually we've already got it installed, we've got it functional. We're looking at the Kaltura Reach program, which is an additional feature to Kaltura that allows you to have your videos captioned automatically. One of the reasons we looked at that, since we had Kaltura, we decided that would be a good option for us, is to look and see what that would offer for us. And the bottom line was Kaltura Reach. It's $1.65 a minute for human captioning. There's several levels of captioning that they can do. They can do machine-based, which is not really any better than what YouTube does, which generally is about 70-75% accuracy. That's enough to kind of get you started to go in and do your own editing. But for something where you don't have to mess with it afterwards, Kaltura Reach has the professional level of captioning, which is at $1.65 a minute, and it's 99.6% guaranteed accuracy. And from what we've seen so far, it's at least that, if not 100%. So that was certainly a good option. And looking at several of the software options that we can be tied into Moodle, Kaltura Reach was cheaper than any of the others. So it was definitely worth a look at. Like I said, we just started doing some testing with that. We're getting ready to create our training to train all our faculty on what kind of videos should be captioned, which ones shouldn't be, and kind of turn everybody loose to start using that captioning system. So that's our kind of where we're at right now. And, of course, under the Macintosh environment, you got YouTube as well. Doesn't have anything to do with your system. Camtasia is available for Macintosh, so you can certainly do that. And, of course, Kaltura Reach, which isn't really tied to your computer systems, is another thing that's available for any platform. So, right quick, I want to show, for those that haven't looked at the YouTube option, I've got a little short clip here that I recorded and turned on the automatic captioning to just show you how bad it really is, for those that just haven't had a chance to see this yet.
Everything, every single thing that took place in that courtroom, but I mean everything, says he's guilty. What do you think? I'm an idiot or something?
So as you can tell with this last little piece here, it picks up some of the words, but the words in between kind of gets mixed up. So if you're a person who has to rely on the captioning, you're totally confused as to what they're even talking about. So the automatic function's really not that good for just about any of the systems you might use. We did have someone say that YouTube now allows you to accept captioning contributions You pick an option to allow others to contribute captioning for your video. And that is true. That's good. And more people are doing that. But when someone posts a video, you got to remember to go turn that function on, which automatically allows you to have other people caption it. And more people, I think, about doing that. The main thing is some of the older videos that we've got instructors that are using YouTube videos that are like 8 years old. Matter of fact, we couldn't even determine who owned the video anymore or couldn't get in contact with anyone and wasn't able to caption that because some of the older videos, the captioning option wasn't even available then. So it ends up being something where the faculty members are going to have to find a different video or make their own to replace that one because it's just not going to be viable going forward. But it is certainly getting better and better. We had another question, use Google Hangouts on air to perform lecture capture. We have played with that some. We here do not have a lot of people that are streaming live lectures yet. I'm sure that's coming. We are going to start probably doing some of our training that we do in-house to our faculty. We're going to start also broadcasting that so that adjuncts and people that can't come to the campus can look at that training. And so we'll have to think about the ability to caption that on the fly. But we haven't really started looking at that yet. But certainly more and more of this stuff is becoming available as we go through. So I appreciate the questions. Those are very good. So YouTube, the options are becoming more and more usable for YouTube, but still it's hit and miss with some of the videos, and even if you're going to be able to do the captioning, it's going to require you to do some manual work, which is certainly doable, but one of the biggest things we hear from faculty is, I don't have time to do that. When it comes to making things ADA compliant, it doesn't matter whether you have time or not, you got to get it done. So that's another reason we went towards the Kaltura Reach system. We're trying to make it as easy as possible and as less time consuming as possible for the faculty. And then, yes, someone mentioned the big blue button videos. So that's another option for doing things. All right, so I'm going to turn it over to Ken Peel here for a few minutes. He's going to run through some of the captioning options for Camtasia, which until the Kaltura Reach system was the way we were doing captioning here on campus. And for those that don't have Kaltura or don't want to go the route of spending money to get Kaltura Reach, this is our opinion one of the better ways, another method to do the captioning. So I'll turn it over to Ken for a few minutes.
Thanks, Mike. And to answer that earlier question too about Google Drive or Google Doc, I noticed that in the Google Sheets or Word, you can basically turn on your microphone and actually talk into and have text show up on that document inside of there. That's getting better and better. I haven't introduced any instructors to that because they're really not making their transcripts for the videos that they're creating right now. So we just want to make sure that we give them the process that'll go from A to Z very, very quickly and not give anything in between. So if we have some people that may be a little bit more creative, we'll probably introduce that to them. But more and more, there's other tools that are coming out. I know that Android has it, and so does iOS, or iPhone has it, that you can talk into your phone and record text that way, copy that, and then send that out as an email. And then you have basically your transcript too, so that's just another way of using that. Camtasia 8, like Mike said, and like we said before, we've been using this for a good little while, so I really, really enjoy this user interface. But I have 3 short videos that show you how Camtasia can caption videos, and there are very, very simple ways to do so. Speech to text. This is a simple video test to show how Camtasia deals with captioning. So as you see down here on the bottom end of this, there's audio inside of this video, which I recorded, and then user interface, and of course it's the video that I'm recording on, and myself over here as a webcam. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm using this audio in order to do speech to text. So let's follow through. I'm going to select speech to text here, and here again is a tip from Camtasia. Now this is very helpful if you're going to be doing all the audio and that you're using your voice. You can train your computer to get better and better. Mike's done a very good job at his, but I haven't used mine so much because all of my videos come from different instructors, and you know it just takes kind of hard. It's really hard to get it matched up. So there's no need for me to train, but it gives you the ability to set your microphone and add words to your speech recognition dictionary as well, so you have a place to put those in. This is where that's going to happen. This is a simple video test to show how Camtasia deals with captioning. I guess I went back. Thanks. Okay, so just really quick, it came in, it picked up the text, all the voice, speech to text, and brought it in here automatically. But as you can see, it doesn't do it very well. You're going to have to do some editing inside of this area, and this is the area that your captions are coming in. So I'm going to just continue to show just a few edits to this, and we'll let this run through. This is a simple video test to show how Camtasia deals with captioning. So just a couple of small edits. This is a simple video test to show how Camtasia deals with captioning. And then it's ready to go. Those kind of things, it's really simple to use that. It's not that difficult, but you can actually pick up quite a bit of good content from your audio in this manner. But again, you're going to have to do some manual work. So just imagine 1 hour video in doing that.
And even though I've been using Camtasia on my machine for 3+ years now, it still doesn't get everything correct. Especially if you got a heavy Southern accent like I do, or one day I got a cold or something like that. But in some words, it's finally learned. Like it finally knows the word moodle now, however I say it. So it's getting better, but it's still going to require some work afterwards.
Oh yeah, everywhere that says it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's move to the next one. And captions to video. So here basically will be you'll use copy and paste from a transcript. So basically I have a Word document off screen here, and I'm copying and pasting into the timelines that are there. So when I select this add caption media here, it'll automatically give me my first timeline, and it'll just put down here on the player just a spot for that. And then you'll have to adjust it by using the lines here on the side. So I'll just be cutting and pasting in here some of the text that belongs to the video. So you see the long purple line up top. That's where the audio, the text is going to start at, or the captioning is going to start at. Now I have to move it so that it actually starts at that player area. This is a simple video test to show how. So now I have to find the split of the words too, and the ending, or the sentences. This is a simple video test to show how Camtasia deals with captioning. So basically, that's another way of doing that. So you have a transcript created for your video already, and when you do the recording, you're reading your transcript so that you go word for word. You can't do anything extra. You can't do anything extra. Copy, paste in, and you can get each individual line that way. That's another way. And the final way is syncing the caption. This is when you're cutting and pasting the entire text inside of Camtasia. So just imagining, just really quick, is that you have several paragraphs. When you copy and paste, it'll be in this area and it'll fill one timeline. Once you do the timeline, then you're going to use this syncing caption in order to separate the sentences, okay? So I'll show you how that's going to look.
Apologize for the beeping. It's right outside my window here.
So, and looking at this is the pop-up screen that'll come when you get ready to do syncing your captions. Your video will begin playing automatically, and what you have to do is basically click on the words, you follow down through your text, and you click on the words that begin the next caption. If you do that, then it separates it in the timeline. Then you'll be presented with a player here and a pause button to continue on through all your paragraphs. Mind you, I don't use this very often because I don't have transcripts a lot, but if you do have them, this is probably a good way to do that. So we're going to continue on. This is probably going to run a little bit fast here because of the length of the words, but you'll see it up here in the upper left-hand corner. This is a simple video test to show how Camtasia deals with captioning. So as you notice there, that I've actually selected the word how and it's separated. So you see the separation down here. So now after separating the sentences, now I have to size it to fit inside the audio track. This is a simple video test to show how Camtasia deals with captioning.
Okay, I think we might be having a technical issue here. Let me see if I can get Ken and Mike back online. If you
Yeah, Camtasia. I've got audio coming in.
Yeah, well, we just had a little bit of a breakup there, Ken, but now that we got you back, I think we're all good.
Okay. All right. I hope I was able to answer the question. The last question was, what do you think is the easiest option? There's really no easiest option. You just got to figure out what works best for you. But in my opinion, what works best for me is adding a caption at each sentence area. And that's one thing that I really like doing. So let's move forward. Okay, just a little screenshot of the caption area I just wanted to talk about is that the ADA compliant button is sitting here. And what happens is that if you get out of ADA compliancy,
Okay, it does seem like we're having a bit of
helm back. You lost again.
yeah, just a slight audio issue.
Are we back?
You are back.
Let's see here.
Okay.
All right, do I need to go back to the slide that we had just a second ago?
I believe you might. We did
Okay,
have
we
a
need
couple
cap.
people mention that they lost audio.
Okay, do I need to go back one slide, Don?
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
Okay. All right. Basically, I hope everyone can hear me here. All right. So inside of Camtasia, they have what's called ADA compliance button inside of your caption area. It's going to give you a clear-cut indication if you're getting over top or you're doing too much to your captions that it's not becoming compliant. So basically, as I said before, this button here will turn red when you get out of compliancy. And the reason why that may turn out is because you have too many paragraph lines inside or sentence lines in one timeline, or you have the colors are wrong, the size fonts are wrong, or the font type is wrong. Those kind of things will kick in and turn this button red, which is great by Camtasia that allows you to use this for ADA compliancy. I hope everybody picked that one up. And the great thing about this is after you finish with the video and doing all your captions, everything is done right, you have export options down here, which you can export as an SRT file, which is a commonly known captioning file that you can attach inside of Kaltura, attach to it, and it turns into captions inside of there as well. And you can import SRT files as well. So that's just totally, it's all user-friendly in through here. Okay? Everybody's got that? Any questions on that at all? You still hear me, Don?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, awesome. We're going to move to the next one. I'm going to give the helm back to Mike. I appreciate it. Anybody have any questions, please continue to post them.
All right, going back to that one question about which is the best way, it certainly is going to be up to each person, which way they figure out the best. I usually go through, have it do the speech to text automatically, and then go back and correct it. Even though I have a transcript, it just, to me, that's quicker than copying and pasting, but Ken does it the other way. So we each have our own way of doing that based on what we found works for us. So that's Kaltura. Certainly something we've been doing a lot of till recently. As of January this year, we now have the Kaltura Reach system set up. The only thing above having Kaltura, you just basically create a pot of money from which to draw from when you start submitting captioning. So you just set that up through a remote learner and get everything turned on, so it's not really anything we need to do on our end. So we got that set up. We really like it, one, because it's just stupid easy to use. Basically, the instructor is just going to put a tag on it, which I'll show you in a minute, that says caption this video, and 2 days later, it's captioned. It was an easy choice for us because we already had Kaltura. If we hadn't had Kaltura, then of course there's the cost of getting Kaltura itself. It would have been a little bit more of an involvement there to get it going, but since we already had Kaltura, it was a pretty easy thing. We like it because it keeps the user inside the LMS. They can do the captioning, the editing of the captioning, whatever they need to do right inside of Moodle. They never have to go outside. That allows the ownership of the captions and the video to stay with the faculty. We're trying to create a system where we're involved as little as possible. We want the faculty to be able to just create a video, caption it, and we not get involved any more than we have to. It's the Kaltura Reach is the cheapest option we found per minute, and the Kaltura Reach support people are awesome as well. All right, so here is, and we're still trying to finish setting up some of these pieces. This is what the interface is going to look like inside of Moodle. At the top here, we've got the videos up here at the top. The text that is being, basically the text that's being spoken is here as chunks of paragraphs that can actually be searched through, and it actually highlights as the text is being spoken on the video. This is more or less the instructor's view, so there's lots of other pieces here. Down at the bottom, here's the different types of captionings that have been requested. The mechanical one is the one that's basically about as good as YouTube. That allows you to just get some captions real quick and easy, but they're going to need editing. So typically we always suggest, do the professional one. That way you can, pretty much not have to worry about it afterwards. This interface inside of Moodle is going to allow the instructors to go in and edit the captions if they need to. Even with 99.6% accuracy, there's going to be some things that don't come through properly, especially if you're using, some specific terminology like in the medical field or something like that. You can also edit captions, and there'll be options for being able to upload a word list. Let's say you got a bunch of technical terms, you can actually provide that to the Kaltura Reach system so that the next time they'll be better at certain words that you're using a lot of. So that's what the interface is going to look like. This is what it looks like right now. So there's going to be some additional options added in once we get everything finalized. But this is the interface inside of Moodle for the instructor when they're editing one of their videos. And they have, of course, the options to do captions, but they can do collaboration, they can add attachments, they can download it, they can actually even edit the video and trim it right inside of Moodle. So there's lots of different functionality, and this is Kaltura itself, not necessarily the Kaltura Reach system. The Kaltura Reach system will be mostly involved with the features that are inside the Captions tab. Down at the bottom here, this is how we're going to have our faculty caption things. They're going to add a tag to a video. Once they've uploaded, it says Caption Me. To begin with, that's going to trigger us to go in and review the video and make sure it's not a duplicate, it's not 3 hours of just talking head video, which we're trying to get people not to do, or it's something that doesn't need captioning, so we don't need to spend the money for it. Until we get everyone trained on how to successfully caption and to know what needs to be captioned, we're going to kind of get intervening in the process. Eventually, we want to be able to turn the faculty loose and we not be involved. So we're hoping that'll come about, but it'll probably take us a few months to get everybody kind of familiar with how the captioning works. So we're looking forward to that, hoping that that's really going to be the answer for us. And believe it or not, that's all we got. So I think we'll open it up for questions. I guess, do I need to turn it back to you, Don?
No, you're good. We'll just hang right here. Does anybody have any questions for Mike and Ken? And certainly, if you don't have any right now and you think of something later, I'm sure they'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you have via email. They are colleagues of y'all, so.
All right. We'll be glad to talk to anybody about this stuff, so anytime, anywhere.
Well, I really appreciate it, Ken and Mike. Thank you very much. I do want to say one last thing. If any of the colleges are using Microsoft Office 365, if you are a Microsoft Office 365 college, please feel free to shoot me an email. I'd like to talk to you about the integration with Microsoft Office 365. Anyways, thank you all very much.
I see we got one question here.
Oh, yes, we do.
There's a question about they determine if a video has to be captioned. They being the faculty, to begin with, we're not going to let them make that determination because we'll need to train them on learning what needs to be captioned, what doesn't need to be captioned. For example, if you've got a PowerPoint and all you're doing is just reading the slides, which in a face-to-face world would be a bad thing to do. But if you're doing that online, there's no need to caption that. But if you're adding information to the bullets on the text, on the slides, and you're talking more than what you see on there, then of course you have to caption that. So we want to try to help everybody sort of understand those different pieces to the captioning puzzle so that we aren't burning up all this captioning money on stuff that doesn't need to be captioned. So we want to train them, being the faculty, to be able to figure that out on their own. Good question. And thank you for all the good comments.
All right. Any more questions? Going once, going twice. All right. Mike, Ken, thank you very much. I know you guys put a lot of work into this. I and everyone at Remote Learner and everyone in this webinar really appreciate you sharing your wealth of knowledge on this subject. So thank you very much. And
You're welcome.
very soon, I will be sending out just a follow-up with a link to this webinar that you may share amongst your colleagues. And we will be opening up the next webinar, which I don't have in front of me what it's going to be, but we will have another webinar in March coming up soon. But between then, you guys are going to have spring break. Have a great spring break, and we will see you on the other side of spring break. And again, thank you guys very much. See you next month.
Thank you. Bye-bye.